But first tonight, they move from restaurant to restaurant, eating every damn thing their greedy asses can stomach. Then they find a reason to complain. They'll send the food back after downing 80% of the meal. They'll typically complain the food wasn't good or it wasn't what they ordered. If you don't comp these customers or give them a second order free, then they demand to speak, of course, to the manager. When that doesn't work, these damn food grifters post a horrible review doing irreparable harm to the business. And we have local restaurateurs here to weigh in on this phenomenon, what we're calling food grifters, going from restaurant to restaurant, taking advantage. Joining me now, Kobo's owner, Raul Kobo, Fogo de Chao manager, Brandon Lathan, and the former owner of King's Court, Jatin Patel. So, Raul, we got this story idea from you. Yes, what do you experience at Kobo's, your restaurant? What do you see when these bastards come in there?
So it's really been like the last 2 months that we've noticed people will come in and order like literally what's on the menu, like brisket sliders, for example. They'll eat more than half of it and say, what kind of meat is this? We'll say, well, you know, it's brisket. Like, ain't that what you ordered? That's what you ordered.
You read that on the menu.
So they'll say, oh, well, we don't like brisket. Can you get us a burger? And we say, we sure can, but, you know, we're going to put it on your tab. Why? Right. Well, because, you know, it's not our fault you ordered, you know what I mean? Like, you knew what you was ordering. Right. Mm-hmm. And so then they'll say, well, you're a restaurant. Like, why can't you just give us a burger? I said, ma'am, it doesn't work that way. You know, unfortunately, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, if you want it, we'd be more than happy to make one for you. Okay, what about this drink? Y'all need to put some extra liquor in here. Man, it's measured. Like, it's measured. Everything is fine. So I already knew what was going to happen. And sure enough, the very next day, so that was a party of 4. The very next day, 2 of the people in there gave us 1-star reviews saying, and you've been to my spot plenty of times, and you know how clean it is. Don't go to this place, is the filthiest place I've been to. The owner is a racist. The manager has an attitude. Wow. The food is not good. You know, just all sorts of stuff that is like, I mean, they're pretty much weaponizing Google.
Exactly. Jatin Patel, when someone writes a negative review, they can do damage to your business.
Absolutely, absolutely. You could do, even if you do have a mistake, the review sounds massively worse. And you can't remove it. You can complain, you can tell Google, whoever, Yelp, whatnot, hey, this is not an honest review, but it doesn't work. And no matter how much you try to make it better and better, those 1 stars can bring you down so bad. So though they hurt a lot.
Absolutely. And Brandon, you're with Fogo de Chao, which is a national chain, and you guys are everywhere, and you have this problem.
Yeah, so kind of how it works there too is they complain to a manager and they don't get what they feel is satisfaction. Basically, they complain to our corporate, which almost leads to a refund. So that's loss of food, that's loss of sales.
And you guys on the ground, locally, you know they're full of bull.
We do, we do. They'll come in and say, hey, you know, I want to get the special, and it doesn't involve the prime cuts, and they get the prime cuts, but don't want to pay for the whole meal. So it's kind of a give, but it hurts the servers, which are working off mostly tips, and it hurts the restaurant because it's food consumption, it's cost.
Absolutely. And so when they eat, let's say, if they eat 10% and say, this isn't what I like, this isn't what I want, that's reasonable. Right. But if you eat 80% of the damn meal,
correct.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you know, whenever humans are involved, there's always going to be a human element. There's always room for error. So, you know, to sit here and say, hey, man, we're always going to be perfect is not accurate. Right. You know,
but
it's just
I
not true.
know if you ate 80% of the meal,
no, exactly.
It's wrong.
Right.
And it's not good. Your stomach is filled.
Yeah, you feel.
Yeah, so I go.
Can I get a to-go box?
You know, who's this, who's that? I go over there, yeah, how can I help you? Well, we didn't like it. You didn't like what? You left everything but the plate. What you talking about? Like, what you talking about, man? Right. Well, nah, can we get something else? I didn't know you had room for something else, but you could pay for this.
And it hurts us.
And yeah,
it hurts our business.
And like he said, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the bartenders, everybody runs. I mean, they work on tips. Mm-hmm. Like that's their livelihood. And then like you know, like my man said, it's true because, like for example, whenever you're applying for like not every application, but some like business applications for like lines of credit, whatever, it will ask you, you know, your your reviews on Google.
Really?
And so I went from a 4.7 to a 4.4 in a month just because of these one-star review grifters.
Yep.
Incredible. So it affects your credit.
Yeah.
With some of the companies that you deal with,
especially if you're a small
suppliers.
business. If you're a small business, I mean, you know, corporate level, you got some more books and numbers, but. You know, if anybody wants to give you a loan, they probably want to dig a little bit deeper for a bar or restaurant and make sure you guys are doing good business, make sure you're doing well, so they will be comfortable lending you money on that. Correct. So, yeah.
And he makes a good point. You guys, as a national chain, may be able to survive something like this because your reputation precedes you.
Right.
But you being a mom and pop,
Correct.
Your reputation online is everything, and it could be damaging and cost you a lot of money if you can't get positive reviews or if people putting negative reviews online.
It is.
Correct. 100%.
Both ways, I believe.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, is there any remedy to that for you, Rob?
No, so, I mean, luckily for us, we have like the most loyal customers. And so, so that one example that I put out, I did, you know, put that on social media. I put that on Twitter. And I didn't ask anybody to go and do anything about it. I just put it, I said, hey man, like this is what small businesses deal with. You know, so don't be coming in here and like, hey, hook me up. Like, you're not asking me to hook you up, you're asking me to pay for your meal. You're asking me to pay for your shot. Specs don't hook me up. You know, my vendors don't hook me up.
You're not asking them to attack, but that's the best way you can fight back.
So they do it on their own, and I'm very grateful for that. So like they will go to that review and they'll report it to Google. I don't ask them to do it. And they'll report it to Google, and I've never reported anything to Google, so I don't know. But they all say there's something along the lines of this information was unnecessary or something like that. Like you can kind of combat it, and like I'm very grateful for that. But like at the end of the day, like how he said, there's really nothing you can do. Once it's there, it's there. You know, I mean, nobody's really gonna dig into it.
And there's some ways you can kind of like watch out if a person does it 2-3 times. Then you're like, hey, we got to watch out for it. We can't welcome that person back, but you don't want to do that.
There's another chain that banned a couple. They went from restaurant to restaurant.
Right.
And I'll tell you, there's like a lot of breast at that restaurant. So. You will figure it out there. We got to go, Raul.